I'm DaveWeLike, checking out the Galaxy Z Flip 7. If you've watched any of my previous Galaxy Z Flip videos, you know I like the concept, but the execution is just so close and yet so far. The build quality, it's good at first, and then there's always a problem with it. So I had that bad situation happen with the 5 after the first year. The screen went dark or something like that. So I upgraded to number 6, and that's what I'm filming on right now. The Galaxy Z Flip 6 so far is holding up the best out of all the Galaxy Z Flips that I've had. Now, moving on over into number 7 right over here. At first glance, pulling it out of the box, holy crap. it like actually took my breath away because it's wider, which I knew going into it, but like, visually seeing it in person after holding and seeing the 6 for so long, it is so wide, which is pretty cool. And then also extremely thin. And I'm actually really excited about, not that you can do it one-handed. Give me a second. There we go. Okay, there we go. So look at that crease. Everybody was like, oh yeah, the crease is non-existent. I'm like, no, it's still there. Now, whether or not it feels like that, it's very different. It's pretty smooth so far, but you still kind of feel it. And you definitely see it with the screen turned off. Turning the screen on real fast. I haven't set up the phone just yet. I just got it in the mail right now, but so there it is. Nice and vivid colors. I still think that the main show is this front cover screen. This screen itself is obviously taking up as much real estate as it possibly can. There's nothing more. Okay, this is it. So is this as good as it gets for these types of phones? So from what I can tell right now, the operating system still wants you to use widgets, which suck. You've got to use that launcher app to get the rest of your main apps. So I'll set that on up so you can see what that's like. But using on the Galaxy Z Flip 6, with text messages, for example, I was terrible at texting on the cover screen. It was a much smaller screen, so we'll see if this is any better over a couple days. We'll try it on out. Like, the Flip is a cool feature, but you don't need to do that if you could just shoot up the screen and extend it, and bam, now you've got a square phone turning into a rectangle phone, and you only have one screen. So until we get to that point, I'm not really sure if it gets better than the Z Flip 7. This is peak awesomeness, at least at first glance. Looking at my case now, this is, again, a shocking piece. So this will slide on the very top here. Look how thin it is. I'm super worried about that because, obviously you want a case that actually protects the phone, but this is so tiny. It doesn't protect the hinge right here. So that's always going to be an issue with these kind of phones. All right, so I've set up my Galaxy Z Flip 7 now. I've had it for a couple days. Let's go ahead and talk about my experiences from transitioning from the 6 to the 7. From the get-go, I actually had some serious problems because text messages were not being transitioned on over to the 7 for some reason. Oh, well, the smart switch wasn't that smart because it didn't tell me that you needed the Samsung Messages app on both your 6 as well as the 7 that you're transitioning to. So I figured that one out, not through AI either, but through a YouTube video. So thank you for helping me on out, YouTube. Now, just looking at the hardware, this screen size helps me on out with typing and texting and all that. And I've really made a conscious effort with trying to not open the phone. It's the first one where it's like, okay, if I'm going to use my phone, I can use this cover screen. I think it's a little strange sometimes taking pictures. See, again, just why doesn't that work nicely and smoothly? Okay, so I just double tapped it. Having these front cameras is pretty interesting. I can get a widescreen shot, double tap if I wanted to take the picture, use the volume controls to take the picture as well. I guess somehow you could do a video if I swipe. There we go. So take some video too. In an interesting form factor. Transitioning as well from the 6 to 7, I had to redo everything on my cover screen. It didn't just carry on over what I previously created on the 6 with my widgets and my apps. So this is what the launcher app looks like, and you just scroll through, add whatever amount of apps you want. Pretty easy to do. But like on X, for example, this is what it looks like. down here, you can play with the, I don't know, aspect ratio. And it's kind of interesting to do that. So one is it gets cut off with the camera, but it's kind of taller and squished together. The other one is the entire screen size still gets crossed off by the camera. But then this one pushes the edge up, so you're not covered with the camera anymore. I kind of like that design. The one that's squished here is you do have the ability to move it to the left, to the right, to the middle, creating an ability for like a single thumb experience or finger experience that's a lot easier than, you know, your full screen experience. And that's the thing, is like I find that this size, it's a little difficult to control with one hand compared to the 6, just because it's so much wider. So on X, if you want to write something, this is kind of what it looks like. Again, just take some time to get used to it. Of course, when you open it up, I mean, the screen's perfectly acceptable. Obviously, it'd be nice for it to be more water and dust resistant, but generally, like, it's just the right amount of brightness, durability. I wouldn't want to scratch it with my finger, which I've done many times on the previous iterations, and they've always scratched up the screen. So, you know, you got to be careful with it. It's still, the question is like, what's the point of these flip phones? And the only thing that I can kind of come up with is the camera location, if you want to get that angle, or if you just want something that's smaller and thinner in your pocket, you know, you can go about and pick one of these on up. So maybe the other thing is, like, with a smaller screen, you might feel less addicted to your smartphone, but you still have all the access to everything that you want. And mixed in with AI, it's like, you know, saying, hey, Google, and getting Gemini finally. It seems as if, like, okay, we're at that point where maybe you won't even have to look at that screen. It'll just send off all the information that I want it to send without me having to bother staring at it for hours on end. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments section below, and subscribe to my channel for more videos coming soon.